Jaya Jaya Gopal Jaya Jaya Radha Ramana Hari Govinda Jaya Jaya Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya Narayanam Namaskritya Naram Chaiva Narottamam Devim Saraswatim Vyasam Tato Jayam Udiraye Tashtaprayeshu Abhatreshu Nityaṁ bhāgavata-sevayā bhagavati uttama shloke bhaktir bhavati naishtike durlabho manusho deho dehinam shanabhangurai tatrapi durlabham manye vaikuntha priya darshinaham Krishnaya Vasudevaya Devaki Nandanaya cha Nandagopa Kumaraya Govindaya Namo Namaha Namo Brahmane Devaya Go Brahmane Hitaya cha Jagaditaya Krishnaya Govindaya Namo Namaha Vanchakalpatarubhyascha Kripa Sindhubhya eva cha Patitanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namaha Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, dear worshipable devotees, thank you for joining. We are reading Śrīmad-Bhāgavatam, Canto number 9, chapter 10, entitled The Pastimes of Lord Râmacandra. So we have been reading this chapter. Thank you, Śrī Prabhu, for coordinating yesterday. So we read till text 23, I believe. So we'll start from 24.
Yes,
this wonderful Leela of Lord Śrī Râmacandra on this wonderful day of Ekadashi and also the day of Jhulana Yatra. Tato nishkramya lankaya yatu dhanya sahasrashaha mandodarya samam tatra parudantya upadravan. Translation. By His Divine Grace, A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupada Shri Prabhupada Ki Jai. Thereafter, all the women whose husbands had fallen in the battle, headed by Mandodari, the wife of Ravana, came out of Lanka. Continuously crying, they approached the dead bodies of Ravana and the other Rakshasas. Hare Kṛṣṇa. So yesterday, I believe, we read that Ravana was killed. Mandodari and all gave a lot of good advice. Mandodari is the prime queen of Ravana and she gave a lot of good counsel. But Vinashkale Viparita Buddhi, at the time of devastation, or at the time of Vinash, the intelligence does not work. Mandodari gave good advice, gave back Sita. Vishnu gave good advice. A lot of people gave good advice, but Ravana did not pay any attention. And at the end, he was just vomiting blood. So this verse is quite straightforward. They all came crying, wailing, because their husbands were dead, headed by Ravana and others. So let's see what happens further. Anyone who didn't get a chance yesterday wants to read? Yes, Avani, please.
Hare Krishna. Swan bandhun pariswaja Lakshmane subher arditan rurudu susvaram dina ganantya atmanam. Translation by Prabhupada Ki Jai. Striking their breasts in affliction because their husbands had been killed by the arrows of Lakshmana, the women embraced their respective husbands and cried piteously in voices appealing to everyone. Hare Krishna.
Thank you so much. Again, quite straightforward here, that they were really, of course, this cry is very natural, because of course husband is very dear to the wife, so the husband is gone, and they are so attached, and we see that in multiple pages of Bhagavatam. This is not the first time. Anyone else remembers? Where have we read? The husband was dead and the wife were like beating their chest and just crying like incessantly. And then Yamaraj comes to pacify. We read that in the story of Hiranyakashipu. When Hiranyaksha was dead, Hiranyakashipu came to pacify the wives, and then he told a story of Yamaraj when he came as a boy. So this is a kind of natural emotion, even when Harshashoka was dead. He was the son, but similar emotion, Kritadyuti, and they were really crying and hi, my child is dead. So let's see what happened further. Text 26. Someone wants to read this one?
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji, you can read.
Yeah, please.
Hare Krishna devotees, and Pranam, all close to Srila Prabhupada. Text number 26. Ha hatasma vayam natha loka ravana kam yach charanam lanka tvad vihina paradhita. Translation and purport by His Divine Grace A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada ki jai. O my Lord, O my Master, you epitomized troubles for others, and therefore you were called Ravana. But now that you have been defeated, we also are defeated. For without you, the state of Lanka has been conquered by the enemy. To whom will it go for shelter? Ravana's wife, Mandodari, and the other wives knew very well how cruel a person Ravana was. The very word Ravana means one who causes crime for others. Ravana continuously caused troubles for others, but when his sinful activities culminated in giving trouble to Sita Devi, he was killed by Râmacandra. So Hare Krishna Prabhuji. So as we can see, Prabhupada nicely explains, Ravana's wife Mandodari, very well knew that Ravana was a cruel person. And in fact, I didn't know this. So Ravana, the name itself means one is causing crying for others. And he was always causing troubles, but when his sinful activities, are done now, so, and he was killed by Ramchandra. But as you said, even though he was a cruel person, because of the attachment, they were in sorrowness. That's what I remember. Hare Krishna.
Thank you so much, Prabhuji. As we sow, so shall we reap. It's a nice lesson here. The principle is, we discussed many times, the law of action and reaction. But if we make others suffer, then how can we expect good in our lives? Very simple. If we give tears to others, right, then one's life One can never be happy. The one who gives tears to others or pain to others, either through body, right, by eating other beings, or through words, by speaking harshly, criticizing, fault finding, anger, or through actions. So in any way, we should not be a source of trouble for others. Ravana epitomized that, like he was the epitome, like zenith, peak of causing troubles for others. And therefore, he was dead. So that's a lesson. If we cause troubles to others, and it's also mentioned in Bhagavad Gita, chapter 12, text 15, that those who don't cause troubles to others and those who are not troubled when others may try to trouble them. Interesting. Those who don't trouble others and those who are not troubled when there is a provoking situation, basically, they're very dear to me. Krishna says in Bhagavad Gita, Yom Vad Bhakta Chame Priya. Such a devotee is very dear to me. It's a very nice lesson here. Ravana was the epitome of the opposite. Let's see what happens further. These wives are saying, the wives kind of realized that. And they tried. It's not that they were not. They were very noble. One of the chaste, when we talk about the chaste queens, Mandodari's name is in the top in the list, or in the top few. But still, what to do? That's a duty of a chaste kind of wife, to not leave the husband. Okay, let's read the next 27. Anyone?
Krishna Prabhuji, can I try?
Yeah, please, Mataji.
Okay, thanks, Prabhuji. Nāvāyeda Mahābhāgā Bhavan Kama Vasangata Tejo Nubhavam Sitaya Yeno Nitya Dasam Imam. Translation and purport by Prabhupada Ki Jai. A greatly fortunate one, you came under the influence of lusty desires, and therefore you could not understand the influence of Mother Sita. Now, because of a curse, you have been reduced to this state, having been killed by Lord Râmacandra. But not only was Mother Sita powerful, but any woman who follows in the footsteps of Mother Sita can also become similarly powerful. There are many instances of this in the history of Vedic literature. Whenever we find a description of either chaste woman, Mother Sita is among them. Mandodari, the wife of Ravana, was also very chaste. Similarly, Draupadi was one of 5 exalted chaste women. As a man must follow great personalities like Brahma and Narada, a woman must follow the path of such ideal women as Sita, Mandodari, and Draupadi. By staying chaste and faithful to her husband, a woman enriches herself with supernatural power. It is a moral principle that one should not be influenced by lusty desires for another's wife. Matrava Paradharasa, an intelligent person, must look upon another's wife as being like this mother. This is a moral injunction from Chanakya Sloka. Matrava Paradharesu Paradravyesu Lostrava Admava Sarva Bhutesu Yat Pasyati Sa Pandita. One who considers another's wife as his mother, another's possessions as a lump of dirt and treats all other living beings as he would himself is considered to be learned. Thus, Ravana was condemned not only by Lord Râmacandra but even by his own wife Mandatory. Because she was a chaste woman, she knew the power of another chaste woman, especially such a wife as Mother Sita Devi. Back to you, Prabhuji.
Thank you so much, Mataji. Thank you for
Thank you very
reading
much,
this
Prabhu.
nice verse. There's a lot of lessons in this wonderful verse. Who is speaking this? Basically, all the wives are crying in unison. Suswaram, we kind of read that. And they're cognizant that why Ravana was killed. Because of the influence of lust. Because of the curse of Mother Sita. Because of his own, Lord Ram didn't kill him. Ravana's lust only killed him. Because this is the top, the Mahashano Mahapapma Vidhenam Ihaverina Kama Isha Krodha Isha Rajoguna Samudbhava. This is the topmost, the biggest enemy is not outside, it's inside only. Mahashano Mahapapma, his lust and anger. So it was his lust only which killed him. If he would have been happy, peaceful, or even made a mistake, unknowingly got, or maybe after he got tempted, kidnapped, even after that, if he would have heard the advice of Maricha or Vibhishana or Mandodari, Lord Ram would have pacified, kind of given him shelter. Lord Ram says that. When Vibhishana came to shelter, Lord Ram was ready to give Ravana also shelter, but no. What to speak of that point, even of his one after the other, his sons were getting killed in the battle, then also he had the chance. Now you at least, still a lot of people are still alive, a lot of, army can be saved, you will be, alive. Still now return Mother Sita. No, did not return Mother Sita. And was the end. So, an ideal lady must follow the examples of ideal chaste ladies, like the example of Mandodari, Draupadi, and who else? Sita Mata. The power of woman lies in chastity. Just hearing this recently, the power of a man lies in brahmacharya, and the power of a woman lies in chastity, being completely devoted to her husband. And the husband must also be a great example who should also follow in the footsteps. It's not that, okay, my wife should be like Sita, but then I should try to be like Lord Ram, follow in the footsteps. As a man must follow great personality like Brahma, Narada, Shiva, etc. The great Mahajana Yenagata Sapanta. Similarly, women must follow these. These are not ordinary, women. They are Mahajans. Also, it's not that only men can be Mahajans. These are no ordinary ladies. Completely supernatural power. Supernatural power. And there's a nice story also that by the power of the supernatural power, one God, that she could control the movement of the sun. That is the power of chastity. This comes, in a story that one's husband was given a curse that next day the sun will rise and the husband will be dead. It was not a mistake of the husband. The wife said, if I am truly loyal to my husband, if I am completely chaste, then the sun won't rise tomorrow. and the sun didn't rise. Sun didn't rise. Days passed, sun didn't rise. And then later the demigods had to come and basically, kind of give a long life to the husband, and then she kind of took back her words. Supernatural powers are there. Same supernatural power we see in you may have heard this story that Gandhari, the wife of Dhritarashtra, when she got to know that her husband would be blind, in order to not feel superior to the husband, she voluntarily blindfolded her eyes. Isn't that's a great act? So that's extraordinary. And then later, she only opened that once when pretty much most of the children of Gandhari were dead. But Duryodhana was still present. So she told Duryodhana, you come without any clothes, and I'm going to open my eyes, the blindfold, and your whole body will become like thunderbolt. And then Krishna knew all those. And Krishna said, well, you are going to your mother, but your mother told to come without clothes, but you are big. You're not like a 2-year-old boy. You can walk without, just covered with directions. You're a grown-up adult man. At least wear something. So he covered his, the lower parts of the body, and then those are the areas which were not kind of strong like thunderbolt, and that's where later Bhima hit the mace, because all the other parts of the body were like thunderbolt, Vajra. So again, we're talking about supernatural powers. So Gandhari's power. And then the nice lesson, Matrivat Paradarishu, Paradara. That means anyone except one's wife, one should consider as a mother. One should consider as a mother. With the respect that, and see with the right eyes. Paradravyeshu lostravat. Dravya means things. We will discuss about Dravya Yoga in Bhagavad Gita also. Paradravya means others' things, others' property, others' car or phone or bungalow or whatever gadgets they may have, or whatever material opulence, job, or lostravat, like a lump of dirt. If we see a lump of dirt on the road, will we be attracted? Let me gather this lump of dirt, let me gather. We'll just keep moving, like stones on the road. So when we see others' things, we should be rather happy. Oh, Krishna has blessed them with this. Very nice. I am happy with what I have, what God has given me. Gratitude. Because there will never be an end point. No matter, even if we have a $10,000 watch, there would be someone wearing a $20,000 watch, right? And so there is no end point. Even if we have a $100,000 car, there will be someone with a $150,000 car, or I don't know. I mean, there's always someone higher. So one should consider others' thing as Atmavat Sarva Bhuteshu. The way we would like ourselves to be treated, treat others the way we would like to be treated. This is coming from Chanakya Shloka. Will we like someone to treat us with harsh words, disrespect? No. Or someone to cut us, kill us? No. Then we should not be harsh and disrespectful to others as well. That Pandit, that person is like a Pandit. Not by knowledge. This is like life science. Just by learning big shlokas, one will not become Pandit. By seeing the world in this vision, that person is a really knowledgeable person. So not by degrees. Any other comments anyone has? Okay, let's read the next verse. Anyone? We didn't get a chance yesterday or today yet. Wants to read?
Hare Krishna Prabhu, may I read?
Sure, please.
Kratyesha vividha ladka vayang cha kulanandana dehang krato nang gradhanam matma narak hetuve. The translation by His Divine Grace, Srila Prabhupada. O pleasure of the Rakshasa dynasty, because of you the state of Lanka and also we observe how we have no protector. By your deeds, you have made your body fit to be eaten by vultures and your soul fit to go to hell. Purport. The one who follows the path of Ravana is condemned in two ways. His body is fit to be eaten by dogs and vultures, and the soul goes to hell, as stated by the Lord himself in Bhagavad Gita, chapter 19, chapter 16, verse 19. Those who are envious and mischievous, who are the lowest among men, are cast by me into the ocean of material existence, into various demonic species of life. Thus, the destination of godless eaters, such as Ravana, Hiranyakashipu, Kamsa, Dantavakra, is a hellish condition of life. Mandodari, the wife of Ravana, could understand all this because she was a chaste woman. Although lamenting for the death of her husband, she knew what would happen around his body and soul. For although one cannot see directly with one's material eyes, one can see with the eyes of knowledge. In Vedic history, there are many instances of how one becomes godless and is condemned by the laws of nature. Hare Krishna, all glories to Srila Prabhupada.
Hare Krishna, thank you so much, Prabhu. So again, the wives of Ravana and others are speaking this. See, body is a nice instrument given to us, especially this human body. Very, very rare. Durlabha manusha deha. Now, and it is a very fit medium to go back home, back to Godhead. But it is our deeds only which can make this body, either the body will anyways go to ashes, from dirt to dirt, but the spirit soul, either it can go to back home, back to Godhead, and for that we need the medium of the body. Like we're using our body right now, by our eyes, our ears, our hands, our intelligence. All these are the elements of the body. We're using all those to rekindle soul's love towards the Paramatma. So we need the body, which is a very fertile or fit medium. But the same body, if it is engaged in wrong deeds, eating, sleeping, mating, defending, then the destination is hell. That means we have the right to choose our destination. We are in the karma yoni. We are not in the bhoga yoni. Animals don't choose their destination. They just go through the process of transmigration from one species to the other. But we have a choice between birth and death. Between B and D is the C of choice. The choices we make will determine our future. It could be hell, it could be back home, back to Godhead. How we use our body what attitude we have towards Sita, energies of Lord. We discussed that to unite to true Lord Ram, or to try to capture for one's selfish enjoyment. That will make the difference. So personalities like this will go to hellish and be food for dogs and hogs and vultures and whatnot. The laws of nature. Any other comments, additions, questions anyone has? Let's see then what Shukdev Goswami spoke. Wants to read text 29. Yes, ready?
Hare Krishna Prabhuji, this is Sheetal. Dandavat Pranam to all the devotees. Shri Shuka Uvacha Swanan Vibhishrana Chakre Koshalendra Numudita Pitra Medha Vidha Nena Yad Uktam Samparayikam. Translation by His Divine Grace, Sri Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupada, Prabhupada ki Jai. Sri Sukadev Goswami said, Vibhishana, the pious brother of Ravana and devotee of Lord Râmacandra, received approval from Lord Râmacandra, the king of Koshala. Then he performed the prescribed funeral ceremonies for his family members to save them from the path to hell. Purport. After giving up the body, one is transferred to another body. But sometimes, if one is too sinful, he is checked from transmigrating to another body, and thus he becomes a ghost. To save a deceased person from ghostly life, the funeral ceremony or Shraddha ceremony as prescribed in the authorized Shastra must be performed. Ravana was killed by Lord Râmacandra and was destined for hellish life. But by Lord Râmachandra's advice, Vibhishana, Ravana's brother, performed all the duties prescribed in relation to the dead. Thus, Lord Râmacandra was kind to Ravana even after Ravana's death. Hare Krishna, back to you, Prabhuji.
Hare Krishna. Thank you, Mataji. So, hate the sin, not the sinner. It's a classic example of this. Lord Râmacandra was kind to Ravana even after Ravana's death. Isn't that amazing lesson? Let's say if someone is troubling us due to whatever reason, and that person, gets some disease or meets with an accident or loses one's job or, something bad happens to him or her. A conditioned soul, myself, I think. See, that's what Jessica Tessa, that's what he was trying to do, was trying to harm me. See, God taught him a nice lesson, right? But Lord Ram is compassionate, even kind, sarva, what's that? Suhridam sarva bhuteshu. Lord is even in the Lord killing Ravana is his compassion. That's a transcendental compassion. It's a great lesson to hate the sin, not the sinner, and to be a genuine well-wisher. Even if someone is not so kind to us, we should be their well-wisher. That does not mean that we have to embrace a tiger or get unnecessarily kind of the point is the Lord never thinks of bad for anyone. So to prevent Ravana going into ghostly things, Lord Râmacandra actually told Vibhishana to do the final rites, the cremation ceremony. There are so many devotees in ISKCON who have shared the story of their experiences with the ghost. So many devotees. I think I recently means like 3 weeks back, I shared one story of an IIT professor who was a devotee, who was sharing his experience with the ghost. Did you all hear that? I shared in the group. So maybe I'll share again. So the point was that there are so many examples actually. Even Gauragopal Prabhu was telling one story, his experience with the ghost. And there are multiple devotees. The point is that Harinam is the best medicine. Wherever Harinam is chanted, ghosts cannot come. What's that famous line in Hanuman Chalisa? Bhut Pishach Nikat Nahi Aave. Anyone knows that line?
भूत पिशाच निकट नहीं आवे, महावीर जब नाम पुकारे. Mahavir.
See, when we chant the name of Lord Ram, Bhut Pishach Nikat Nahi Aave. All the ghosts and the goblins and the demigod and the demons, demoniac spirits won't come. Nikat means close to such a person. And it is proven. We're not talking about previous yugas. We're talking about present yugas. So many devotees have experienced this. And rather, those ghostly spirits are actually grateful. We know the story of Dhundakari, right? His brother Gokarna did Bhagavatam. It comes in this the Bhagavatam. This is one of my favorite stories about the glories of Bhagavatam. When he heard the Bhagavatam, Dhundakari had done like so many bad acts. Yamaraj's book, like hard drive, was full with all the bad acts he had done. But when he heard the Bhagavatam, which is not different from Krishna, he got the divine Vaikuntha, the four-handed form all the Vaikuntha Vasis have. It's the power of a holy name. It's the power of Bhagavatam. So one should not be fearful of all these others. One should just kind of enhance one's faith and devotion in the process of bhakti. Okay, we'll read. Next verse. Anyone wants to read?
Hare
I
Krishna.
can read. Okay.
Okay, Prabhuji, I can read the next. Hare Krishna.
Shall I read? Okay. All right. Hare Krishna, devotee, text 30. Tato tadasha bhagavan ashoka vanikrashrame shamam swaviraha vyadim simsapa mulam ashritam. Translation by His Divine Grace, A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupada, Jai Srila Prabhupada. Thereafter, Lord Râmacandra found Sita Devi sitting in a small cottage beneath the tree named Shimshapa in a forest of Ashoka trees. She was lean and thin, being aggrieved because of separation from him. Hare Krishna, back to you, Prabhuji.
Haribol, thank you so much, Prabhuji. So we have heard about the Ashoka Vatika. There were a lot of Ashoka trees, that's why it's called Ashoka Vatika. It's interesting when devotee was sharing this, that the situation was full of shoka, right? Separation from the husband. But remembrance of what kind of, when Hanuman came and she said to multiple times that I cannot, sustain my life here. But it was only the remembrance of Lord Ram, in spite of all the shokas and harassment by all these demoniac ladies who were harassing Mata Sita pretty much every day, asking her to surrender. In spite of all the shokas and turbulence and turmoil, her remembrance of Lord Ram was only keeping her and sustaining her. So it's a great lesson. We are also in this world full of shoka, full of sadness and so many difficulties and so many person getting disease and dying and adi bhautik, adi devik, and so this world is not a jolly place. A sane person will understand that this world is not a place to enjoy. Rather, there's so much suffering every day, every moment. Padam padam yad vipadam. But those who remember Sri Râmacandra, those who remember Shri Krishna, then they will be, in spite of all the difficulties, they will be happy. Brahma Bhuta Prasannatma. This is the message of Bhagavad Gita. So, because she was practically not eating anything and constantly in separation of Lord Ram, her body also was weakening. So let's see what happens further when Lord Ram found Mata Sita in the Shokvatika after doing the cremation ceremonies. Yes.
Hare Krishna Prabhuji, Dandavat Pranam. All glories to Srila Prabhupada. Text 31. Ramo priyotamam bharjayam dinam bhikshayan vakampato atmo sandarsano halada vikoshan mukha pankajam. Translation by His Divine Grace A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupada ki jai. Seeing his wife in that condition, Lord Ramachandra was very compassionate. When Ramachandra came before her, she was exceedingly happy to see her beloved, and her lotus-like mouth showed her joy. So after a long time, when Sita Devi, Mother Sita, met Lord Ramachandra again, able to see him, she was very, very much joyful, and so as Lord Ramachandra. Back to you, Prabhuji. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Thank you so much, Mataji. So I think we were discussing this point that Vipralamba enhances the Sambhoga. The joy of union is enhanced by prolonged separation. And they were really separate for over 13 months. 11 months. I think most of you may be already aware that this whole kidnapping of Sita just happened, this whole pastime happened in the last year only. Till out of the 14 years, 13 years they spent together. This whole thing happened in the last 11 months only. Meeting Sugriva, first kidnapping of Mata Sita, and then all the other subsequent pastimes, Sugriva and others, Lord Hanuman going to Lanka, all that happened the last 12-13 months only. So yeah, Mata Sita was very happy, joyful, seeing her husband after a very long time. So we will kind of pause here. We also want to talk about Jhulan Yatra, maybe a little bit. So I think the article was shared for those who want to read in more detail. So but the point is, this is the Jhula. Jhula means swing. In this month is what Prabhupada is saying. These 5 days, Prabhupada is mentioning that deity's clothes should be changed every day, distribution of prasadam, sankirtan as far as possible. If you are able to do, a nice throne may be constructed on which the deities can be placed, and this throne may be swung gently during kirtan. This will be very good, and surely the deities will enjoy this function. So generally, and Krishna consciousness is full of festivals. Every day there is a festival. There is no month where there are no festivals. Can we imagine like what Srila Prabhupada has given us? We can't even imagine the good fortune. Every day is an utsav. Every week there is some special thing. Ekadashi, Janmashtami, Balram Purnima, Narsimha Chaturdashi, Prabhupada Vyas Puja, and then Rath Yatras, and practically every day, and Mangalarti, and Darshanarti. And so is Jhulan Yatra festival. So on this, all the Sakhis make a wonderful golden, and the different jewels, Ratna, Bhushana, a throne and a Jhulan swing for Shri Radha and Krishna. Because that's the whole mood of Vrindavan, to give joy to Shri Radha and Krishna, and everything is to give pleasure to the beloved, that is the Supreme Lord. So, and one who does so, then one will not have to swing back and forth in this material world. So we should also pray, as His Holiness Bhakti-Rasamrit Maharaj said, that by intensifying our bhakti, that by sincerely chanting the holy names, serving Vaishnavas, etc., by swinging Radha Krishna, if we can do in the Jhulan, that's fine. If not, at least in the heart, we can do, or at least we can watch the videos and mentally do it. Whatever, as per time, place, situation, best as possible, we should try. Prabhupada is all mentioning here that Radha Krishna swinging is fine, but you may avoid swinging Lord Jagannath like that. So, it's not that okay. So one has to be a little careful. There is a quote of Prabhupada like this. Very, very. Jhulan Yatra is very, very dear to Krishna. He likes it. I mean, when we were children, I'm sure we all liked the swinging. It's coming from the spiritual world, because the material world is a reflection of the spiritual world. So, but in the material world, I remember I kind of fell off a swing and got stitches. So in spiritual world, that doesn't happen, because material world is Vadam Padam Vipadam, but spiritual world is completely Satchidananda. So let's pray so that we can stop swinging in the material world, in the different species or in the different modes of goodness, passion, and ignorance, and we can swing in the real pastime of the Supreme Lord and make ourselves as an instrument in the hands of the Supreme Lord, and relish these wonderful festivals by hearing about Krishna, by engaging in different aspects of bhakti. And also today is Ekadashi as well. So very, very holy day, very, very wonderful day today. Anyone has anything else or to share, tell, or ask?
Yes, Prabhuji, Hare Kṛṣṇa. So actually, I'm going back to the pastimes of Lord Râmacandra. So several places I read and heard that Maya Sita and the real Sita. So when Ravana was kidnapped, it was Maya Sita. And here we see that when Râmacandra met Mother Sita in the Ashok tree, she was lean and thin. So my question is it going simultaneously, or where the Maya Sita starts or ends? Is there any kind of demarcation, or you can explain a little bit more?
Yeah, I think it's mentioned in the point where Agni Dev actually takes, under his care. The Sita Mata was there, and the Maya Sita. So where basically the Lakshman Rekha point, that point basically is said. And when then there was the Agni Pariksha again, then Agni Dev returns back. So from the Lakshman Rekha point to the Agni Pariksha, that's what I have heard from senior Vaishnavas.
Okay, thank you, Guruji.
Hare Krishna. Thank you, Prabhu. It's a nice point that Ravana lost his life for something which was not. Right? Maya means when which is not. We read that point, I think, the day before. So whole life trying to get something which is not. And that's pretty much everyone's situation in this world. Everyone is following the footsteps of Ravana, giving troubles to others, trying to enjoy Mata Sita, forget about Lord Ram. Or Mata Sita means everything is an energy of God, born from earth. Mata Sita was born from the earth. Forgetting Krishna, forgetting Rama, trying to enjoy, giving troubles to others. Then what will be the destination? Trying to enjoy something which is not. Trying to enjoy what? The material things, pleasure from material things. But Bhagavad Gita says, 522, we read that. What's that? Jehi sansparshaja bhoga, dukkhayo nevayavate, adi antavanta kvantiya, nate shuramati buddha. These pleasures derived from the body and the body's interactions have a beginning and an end. That's basically Ravana's, trying to get bodily pleasures, beginning and end. Even if one is as great as Ravana, but the point is, one will come to an end, and the body will just be food for vultures and hogs. So, thank you, Prabhu. Any other comments or additions? Okay, so we will. Prabhu was saying something.
Yeah, just one comment. Yeah. So the Agni Pariksha was because that happened because some in the monkey army were gossiping, right? When Mata Sita was away for 11 months, and to prove her chastity, Lord Râmacandra wanted her to do that. Although he believed in her purity, but it was just that because of the gossip going around. Is that correct? Or?
Yeah, that was the second time actually.
Okay.
That was the second time when they had come to Ayodhya. Even before they started for Ayodhya, at that place itself, there was one. But then people in the Ayodhya said, well, we haven't seen all that, right? Who knows? So there's a very big question why Lord Ram made that decision, right? Why Lord Ram made that decision to banish Sita. So it's not actually a banish. One devotee asked me this question. I was in Jackson actually. Very nice question. Ken Kamataji asked. And then I started to kind of hear more on that. There's a very nice, lecture by Shubha Vilas Prabhu and Chaitanya Charan Prabhu on this, which I really liked their perspectives. One perspective I really liked that if Lord Ram would have banished Sita, okay. In the material world, if a husband and wife have a clash, and let's say they get separated, and children go with either the husband or the wife, or maybe 50-50 kind of. But the other person would tell, let's say the children are with wife. The wife would tell that your father is good for nothing. He is the cause of all problems. He's bad. He's this. He's this. He'll just build hatred in the children. She is just going to feed hatred, right? You all agree with that? And same with the father, that how bad of a wife the mother is. That was one point. The other point was, no matter whatever, it was not an easy decision for Lord Ram. No matter whatever he would have done, people would have blamed. Right? it's an interesting point that he gave an example. Let's say someone's parents are very sick and that person is here in US and the parents are really sick. They're back in India. Now he's in a dilemma, right? The parents, he's not sure that he may see the parents again. But if he goes to attend the parents, he may lose his work, and who will take care of the wife and the children who are dependent on him? So now the question may come, what should he do? Right? What should he do? Should he take care of the parents who he may not see again? Or should he take care of the wife and the kids who are also dependent on him? So what will you say? If he goes there, then he may not get work and all that. So the point is that some of you may say he should go to the parents, right? And some of you will say he should take care of the wife and children because parents have lived their life, but the kids are young. And both are right and both are wrong. That's the whole dynamics of the situation. Some people will always blame the leader. This is the tough spot a leader is in. No matter whatever decision the leader will make, some people will always unhappy with that decision. And some people will always be happy with that. So that's the dynamics of being a leader. The leader cannot make always everyone happy all the time. But if the leader is a genuine servant of God, has to do one's best. And it was not that Lord Ram, married other wives, right? Which he could have, correct? It was technically and ethically and morally in every aspect. Well, Dashrath Maharaj had multiple queens. It was not like that. So there are multiple reasons we can understand that the heart of Lord Ram, it was not basically a banishment, that it was an act of great sacrifice. That he kept his duty as a king, for the welfare of the kingdom much higher than his duty as a husband. So his duty as a king, his duty as a husband, but he kept the duty as a king as higher, because it is said that even for one person in the society can be protected, then it's fine. Lord Ram showed that example, and even if that person meant his own wife. So that's a very, very high example, which often people misunderstand and say why he did such a cruel act and stuff like that. So those people will continue to blame. But we have to understand the deeper aspects of it. Just a side point. Sorry, I don't know how I kind of got in that direction, but I hope it was helpful, because someone may ask you this question at some point. So we should be ready to answer. So we'll pause here. Shri Râmacandra Bhagwan ki jai, Śrī Caitanya-caritāmṛta ki jai, Śrī Jhulan Yatra ki jai, Śrī Radha-Madhav ki jai, Śrīmad-Bhāgavatam Mahapuran ki jai, Samaveta Gaura Bhaktarinda ki jai. Vancha Kalpatarubhyascha Kripāsindhya. Thank you so much. Hare Kṛṣṇa.
Hare Kṛṣṇa.
Hare